Okay, so in today's video I have got week 33 of my 365 days of art challenge, so if you want to see what we do this time then keep on watching. Okay, so the first one that I started with this week was similar to one that we did, I believe, last week. Yeah, I think it was last week, where we had to design a pair of trousers. So this one was designing a t-shirt. So I of course went in with my zebra fine liners, which if you have watched me do this before, that will be absolutely no shock to you whatsoever. But yeah, I decided to go in with those, and I just went through the order of the colours and just sort of made a rainbow basically. So yeah, that was what I decided to do for this one, because I thought as well it would kind of it would kind of be useful to be able to look back on this, and then if I'm trying to like pick a colour, then I've got all of the colours out in order and I can see exactly what I need, exactly what I can use, and it kind of shows obviously how the colours work together, which is obviously always helpful if you can see how the colours are gonna work with each other. So yeah, I thought this was sort of a good way to do this one fairly quickly, and also create sort of a tool that I can use in the future. So yeah, I managed to do 2 rounds of this one, so I did each colour twice basically, and yeah, the only colours that I didn't use was a grey one and a brown one. I decided to just kind of keep it with the rainbow colours, which worked out quite well because obviously, like I said, I managed to get exactly 2 of each colour in. So yeah, that was the first one that we did this week. So the next one that we did this week was a pattern based one. Basically I had to create some patterns within these flowers, so it actually ended up taking me a lot longer than I presumed it actually would. Yeah, I thought this was going to be quite a quick and easy one, but in the end it did actually take quite a while, and I feel like as well, when you're kind of put on the spot like that to just kind of like produce some patterns and make it look good, it is actually quite difficult. So obviously you can see that I've done 2 there, and I did actually, like with this yellow one, this is very similar to the pink one that I did on the other side, and I did actually do quite a few of these, because it says on there to sort of add patterns and colour and stuff like that, so there's no sort of like, I mean, there's no rules anyway, it's not as if this is like homework and I'm gonna hand it in, but yeah, obviously I basically just did whatever I wanted, but it doesn't necessarily say that everyone has to have a pattern on it, but just says to sort of add patterns and colours. So I used, obviously you can see here with the stippling, I obviously used some sort of like mark making techniques, and again, you won't be shocked to know that I did these with my zebra fine liners. I think I actually did everything this week with them, everything that sort of needed any sort of colour or anything like that, so other than like the sketching ones. Yeah, I did everything with the zebra fine liners, and I mean, I feel like the colour range is a little bit limited, but I also don't think that's a bad thing sometimes. I think sometimes having a limited range is good. I think it kind of stops you from sort of, I don't know, adding too many colours and making something look way too busy when really it just needed a select few colours. That's why I kind of like watching people do like the 3 colour art challenge, or some people have even done it with like 1 colour. So I really do enjoy that, and I feel like sometimes that creates better art than if you have every single colour under the sun and in the rainbow, however you want to say it. Yeah, sometimes I do feel like having a limited selection does actually work in your favour, and yeah, I do think it can be good, but sometimes in instances like this, when it's not actually necessarily a like one cohesive piece, I do actually think sometimes having a few more colours would be helpful. But I just love these liners, and I don't think they do any more colours. I may be completely wrong, and if I am, please let me know, because I definitely want to buy some more. But yeah, this is just one set that I got. So it comes with the fine liners, then it came with some just normal like biro-y type pens. So yeah, obviously I don't really use the biros in this at all. I use them obviously sort of day to day for writing and whatever else, but I don't tend to obviously use them in this book. But yeah, that is what the set came with. And then I added in some fine liner pens from a different brand. I just added those into the holder. Obviously you can see that, sorry, like every pen has its own section basically. I don't really know what I'm going on about, but yeah, I love these I love these fine liners, but also it did sort of like leave room for others, so I don't know, maybe that leads me to believe that there is maybe a few more out there. I don't know, maybe I'll have to have a look into it. I've literally only just thought about it now, so maybe I'll have to have a look into it and see if I can find any others. But yeah, this was the third one that we did, which was it said to draw some mugs in your house. So the first one I did, I just have a normal mug that has a bear on it, and then I also have a collection of Disney 100 mugs. I think I have like the Ariel one, there's a Mickey one, there's loads of different ones. I think I have like 6 or 7, but I just chose to do the Mickey one. And yeah, they were sort of like the main 2 mugs that came into my head when I first saw that page, so I thought, yep, we'll just stick with those 2. And then the next one that we did was drawing a horizon. So I decided to draw a pretty simple picture of just a horizon on like the sea, the sun setting, and some boats and some birds. And yeah, I didn't really want to do too much detail because I feel like the background was pretty dark, so it would have been quite difficult to actually see any detail in there. So yeah, that was kind of what I stuck to instead. And then the next one that we did was adding patterns to socks, and this one I did actually limit my colour palette even further. So to begin with, I did a bunch that just had these 3 colours, so the one that I have in my hand currently, and then the 2 that you can see just at the bottom of the screen. So I decided to do as many of those as I could just with those colours to sort of see what I could come up with, but generally speaking I kind of kept the patterns pretty similar. I feel like it's kind of difficult to come up with loads of different ones when the space that you're creating in is so small. Obviously it's, you know, they all have very similar shapes and it's quite difficult to actually fit anything in there, which is why, yeah, I kind of kept a similar theme with most of them. And not only that, I feel like socks are supposed to come in pairs, so yeah, I kind of went for that sort of idea as well. I don't think any of them were the same, but some of them were very similar. So yeah, that was basically my thought process with that. And then obviously, as you can see here, I then changed my colours. So I put those 3 colours away and then picked up 3 more. So I had 2 blue, no, I had, yeah, 2 blues and then 1 like purple, is that right? Yeah, I think that's right, like 2 blues and 1 purple, and then yeah, basically just chose very similar patterns to what I had previously done. Yeah, I just felt like it was really difficult to actually come up with loads of different patterns, and I didn't really want to spend loads of time on it either, so I didn't want to be doing loads of like intricate designs when essentially this is just sort of a page full of socks. So yeah, that was kind of my thought process, and at this point I kind of just added some with like the toe bit and the heel bit, and then decided to add the pattern over the top. I actually found that this was a little bit easier to actually just have them already set out and then just decide what was going to go inside of them. I did think about just leaving some of them plain and just having like the toe, the heel, and then like the, what's it called, like the bit around the top, I don't know what it's called. Like, it's not a cuff because it's not trousers, I don't know, but you know what I mean, the bit around, like the rim around the top. I did think about just doing those and then leaving like the center of them plain, but when I sort of did that and then looked at it, I felt like it looked odd, and it felt like it looked like I hadn't finished it. So yeah, I decided against that in the end, and then did actually go and finish them all. And then at this point I got a pink pen out as well, and then used the pink pen just to add a little bit more variation in. Obviously, as there are quite a lot of socks here, I did decide to just vary it a little bit more, rather than, yeah, just what I had before. But yeah, I do think these are really, really simple. They didn't really take too long. I mean, they took a little while because it's repetitive and there was a lot to do, but yeah, that was essentially what I chose to do for that one. And yeah, it did, like I said, I didn't really want to take too long on it and do anything too intricate, because it is just essentially a page full of socks. But yeah, I am happy with how they turned out, even though they are so simple. I don't think, again, with similar to the colour thing, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think sometimes simple can look more effective sometimes. But yeah, that was what we did for that one. And then the next one that we did was another colouring one. So it just said to fill the page with things that are blue. So I did a lot of mark making and things like that, because once again, I could not think of too many things that were blue. So I did sort of copy the flowers that were already on the page, so to do some of those. And then last minute I thought, I can do some blueberries. So yeah, I did some very sort of basic, very simple, just blue balls, and then just put a little like cross on the top to obviously symbolize the blueberry aspect. And I feel like they do look like blueberries. They look close enough. If you looked at them, you would know what they were, even though they are sort of odd colors for blueberries. They are sort of like, yeah, one's a bit more grey and one's a little bit brighter than what a blueberry usually would be. But yeah, that was one page I just decided to keep a little bit simple. And then this one just said write something about when someone complimented your creativity or something, and I just wrote something in there. I can't really remember what it said, but I wrote something in there. And then, as always, I marked off all of the tasks that I had done. I'd accidentally written down the wrong number on one of them, but soon figured it out. And then yeah, highlighted off all of the ones that we did this week. So that was everything for part 33 of my 365 days of art challenge. Let me know down below which one was your favourite, and if you have any ideas for future prompts at all. But yeah, other than that, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!